then I can use this, because the rest of the skull is a giveaway, you know. You see it associated with on a human skull, it'll give away what it is. So you have to recognize the catenary curve. Okay. Now, then, Australopithecus. Okay, this is a replica of an Australopithecus skull. Okay.
Can you show me one? Thank you.
And there are similarities with our close relatives. This is early on, you know, for the line leading to Homo sapiens. So it's the same stuff, although obviously not as prognathous as in these. Okay, and then we have, they didn't even attempt to do it though, so the teeth are not so accurately reproduced. We also, male humans also have, there's some sexual dimorphism with respect to canines, but it's not so as you'd notice without instrumentation, you know, it's there. Well, in their case, it's obvious. You don't have to use calipers to measure the length of the canine to tell that it's longer, whereas you'd have to do that with a human. So it's not so much the case it's not so obvious in humans. Okay.
Is that an Afarenus or Africanus? Afarenus?
This is Australopithecus species.
But you're not sure.
So yeah, not specified. I'd say Afarensis.
Okay.
Australopithecus afarensis.
Just another thought, just the generic.
Yeah, because the Africanus was less pronouncedly prognathous and so on. So that was a difference that existed there. So this is what I can use for Australopithecus on the big exam. There'll be some questions on this paleoanthropology. And this one, an older term is used. It says Sinanthropus. This is Homo erectus. So don't bother with the older designation. This is Homo erectus. So you see, the forehead is less backwardly sloped because there's more prefrontal cortex. The brain is larger. The jaws are somewhat less prognathous. Okay, so that this you should be able to identify this as Homo erectus. And you'll notice that on all of these, by the way, what do you see over here? What's the situation here? Yeah, no mental protuberance. So in which group, to which group is the mental protuberance confined?
Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens.
Sapiens.
Sapiens, that's right. So just note that in all of these, there's no mental protuberance. The only one in which there's a mental protuberance, the only group in which there's a mental protuberance is in us. Homo sapiens sapiens, you see that? Now, this is the La Chapelle skull, a replica of the La Chapelle skull, a particular famous Neanderthal skull. This is Homo neanderthalensis. You don't have to know this. It's the La Chapelle skull. And this is replicated as this is a replica of the actual fossil. That is, where there's breakage in the actual fossil, they simulated the breakage. You see this damage here, and damage there as well.
Where's the real one?
It's in a museum in Germany.
Mm.
And notice the zygomatic arch is broken on this side. This individual came up short on teeth. Not too many teeth were surviving at the time of death. And then notice the backward sloping forehead. And then if you measured back over here, you'd see there was more skull behind the foramen magnum than in Homo sapiens sapiens. So they had less prefrontal cortex but more occipital lobe than we do.
So they had better visual.
Yeah, the occipital lobe is better, is for vision. Now we can only speculate on what we'd like to have a brain like that, since nothing survives that has this brain. But apparently, with the prefrontal cortex does matter. From their tools are less sophisticated. It looks like they were only using stabbing spears. The spear thrower was invented by Homo sapiens sapiens. It accelerates the velocity at which a spear could be thrown. They didn't have bows and arrows and things like that, so they were substantially less sophisticated. And although they had fire, there's a possibility that they had to carry it around. but they never developed the ability. Somebody in the Homo sapiens sapiens community, by chance, discovered that if you struck flint on iron, you get a spark. And then you could crumble up leaves to produce tinder, and set fire to that, and then add more, and you'd have a fire going. So that once that was discovered, you didn't have to walk around with fire, because you could make it when you needed it. The evidence suggests that the Neanderthals were never able to do that. Okay. So, but their brains were bigger than ours on the average, but with less prefrontal cortex, where the executive functions are located, but with more occipital lobe. Okay. And then notice no mental protuberance. The whole skeleton for this individual exists, or most of the skeleton, and you can see when looking at the vertebrae and knee joints and hip joints that the individual had severe osteoarthritis. So it appears that the other members of the community were collecting food for him, because he